Hello everyone, I'm Sharpedo43 once again, and here we are finally with the final match for the CBDL Season 3. It's going to be Week 7, because remember that I mentioned in the previous video that Week 6 will not be because there were some inconveniences that were mentioned in the previous video. But yeah, here my opponent is actually going to be none other than Scoots85, the commissioner of the ICPL. We've played previously in Generation 7, we played like 3 times I believe in Generation 7. This is going to be our first time playing against each other in Generation 8, so that's going to be kind of interesting. He's also going to be representing the Mississippi Morpekos this time around as opposed to the Mississippi Marshadows like he did in Gen 7. So yeah, and anyways, his draft and as well as mine's are going to be right here. Mine's is on the right and his is on the left. The reason why I'm showcasing both of our drafts here is because this is the first time that the drafts are actually up to date now, because this is the final week of the season, and transactions I believe ended in week 5 or 6, I think, somewhere around there. I think it was 6 because I think they would have ended transactions by week 7 already. So yeah, I was able to swap Corvi Knight. I was about to say Sylveon, but I don't have that obviously. I switched it for Skarmory, which was a mon that I've used in Generation 7. I wanted to see how effective it could be in this game, despite knowing very well that matches are not meant to be stalled the hell due to the 20-minute timer. But yeah, so yeah. But my opponent's draft is actually consisting of stuff that's pretty standard, but still kind of like threatening nonetheless. Particularly the Rain team in combination with the Scrafty and probably the Jirachi and the what is supposed to be the Blastoise. Yeah, G-Max Blastoise, that could be very threatening, especially under Rain, because you know it'll be twice as powerful. But yeah, so again, it's standard stuff but just scary. So yeah, but either way, that's gonna be the whole shtick right there. And here we're basically gonna be getting our stuff ready basically. The teams, as you can see right there, are all basically what I expected it. Well, yeah, it's pretty much what I expected, because he has just about everything that I was fearing when it came to the Rain team. Basically anything that benefits from the Rain. Like grass can be attacked by fire moves because of the Rain. Water moves are boosted for all of these water type ones. It's kind of crazy. And my team actually consists of well, I have Lantern. I brought it because I was afraid that he would actually bring the Rain team, and I figured why not bring Lantern and Sharpedo and see if they can actually benefit in the Rain while I actually, you know, do my stuff and whatnot with the rest of my mons, particularly setting up hazards and then just starting to like phase with Skarmory and all that stuff, because I think that's what Skarmory is mostly gonna do here, is phase, and if hazards are on my side and not on his side, we have the fog for it as well. Like I have hazards I believe on Clefable this time as opposed to Skarmory, because you know, I can only have so many moves on my Pokemon. But yeah, here we go. So this is the final match as mentioned before. It's gonna be against Scoots85 representing Mississippi Morpekos, and I'm gonna be obviously I'm gonna actually I believe lead with the well, he's gonna lead off with Jirachi and I'm actually gonna lead off with the Lantern. And right out of the gate, I'm gonna actually go for the Volt Switch, cause I was actually kind of thinking, what if he U-turns? He may not have. He might have been one of those people who actually just go straight for the Heart Stamp or the Zen Headbutt just for flinch spam. But he did not go for that. He just went for the U-turn. I don't know if he did that on purpose or if he just was actually predicting me to switch out, fearing the possible Heart Stamp or Zen Headbutt. But him switching out or him U-turning actually could be very well a good thing for me, because that means I can get the switch advantage here when I go for the Volt Switch. Looking at his team, he didn't have any Volt Switch immunity either, so that was actually very, very good for me. Like the Volt Switch was pretty much free, and it gets damage on literally anything without having to worry about staying in and whatnot, you know. So here, I think I actually decided to go into Clefable. Particularly what I wanted to do here was actually set up the Stealth Rocks, so I can actually, you know, have hazards on the field and start punishing his switches and whatnot. But before I do that, I actually knock off, because knocking off the Assault Vest from this thing is actually very, very important, because remember that this thing has Regenerator, and if we can't take this thing out, like if we can't damage this thing well enough, every time it switches out, it's just going to keep getting its HP back, and that's not what I want. So yeah, the plan is to go for rocks with this thing obviously, but first I have to knock off. and I do knock off what I did predict to be an Assault Vest, and in return he's actually going to reveal to me the Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb is actually really bad because obviously it does a lot of damage to my Clefable. I don't think this Clefable was actually invested in a lot of SPDEF. I think I could be wrong on that, but it might have been a mixed defensive Clefable, I don't know, because I did have to be taking into consideration some possible movesets from Kingdra and Blastoise during this preparation. But yeah, either way, I actually go for the Stealth Rocks now, and this was risking the possible second Sludge Bomb attempt here, but thankfully for me he just went for the knockoff, predicting me to switch out after seeing the Sludge Bomb, which, let me be honest with you, I actually kind of wanted to do, but I really wanted to get my rocks up too, honestly, so I decided to just get the rocks up first before switching out. And here I decide to, well, he actually decides to switch out, and I actually went for the Moonblast just because I just wanted to get some damage on this thing to see how much I can do without the Assault Vest on the Tangrowth now. But he actually ends up just switching out and going into the Galarian Weezing, and because it's a poison type, it actually resists Moonblast, and it's not going to do anything, obviously. I think here, I actually make somewhat of a risky play, and I think I switch into Gardevoir here, but I don't remember, I could be wrong. I think I do though. Yeah, because I didn't want to send in Goodra, because Goodra was, you know, weak to the Weezing in the sense that it's a fairy type and whatnot. But yeah. So here, what I'm gonna do now is just send in the Goodra. Well, okay. I guess I do switch in the Goodra, I guess then. Oh, okay. This is what happened. Okay, so I switched it in, and I actually wanted to see how well I can take a hit from this thing if he didn't go for the poison move. And or if he went for the poison move, I meant to say, not if he didn't, because if he did, then he would have probably gone for the fairy move, and that would have probably been bad for me. But he ended up just going for the Will-O-Wisp instead. So, and that's where it all culminated. It's because I still don't remember this match very well. Like, matches that go for too long, I usually don't remember much of what happens and whatnot, because it's a lot to remember, you know. But yeah, okay, so I did send out the Goodra. I think it's here where I send out the Gardevoir. It's because that's another thing. I remember sending the Gardevoir in on the Weezing, but I just didn't remember what turn I did that actually. So, but it was here right after I sent in the Goodra to see what it would go for. And here, as I switched in into the Gardevoir, he actually goes for the Strange Steam or something like that. At the time, I did not know what that move even does, but it missed. After looking at it after the match, I actually looked up this move, and I actually saw that it was actually a fairy type move, not a poison type move like I was thinking at the time. And it's actually 95 accuracy, so surprised that it actually moves now that I think about it. But that's only now, obviously, because at the time I didn't even know what this move did. I was just relieved that it missed. But given that it was a special attack, as I learned after the match, obviously, it turns out that it wasn't even going to do that much to Gardevoir anyways, because it was a fairy type move, not a poison type move. If it was a poison type move, it might have been a 2-hit KO, I don't know. But either way, he switches into the the Jirachi now. And I went for the Psychic, because at the end of the day, Weezing is still a poison type, so I might have been able to get some damage on that. The only reason I went for Psychic instead of trying to predict him was because he probably was thinking I might have been the one wanting to switch out, because the Weezing is still a poison type and he can scare me with Sludge Bomb. But, you know, he didn't do that, and he just actually switched into Jirachi. And I switched into Skarmory here, fearing the possible Iron Head, or even the U-turn attempt, but I just felt like Skarmory was a fine switch-in. He actually ends up taking advantage of my switch to go for Rocks, and here I wanted to go for the Defog, like really badly, to get rid of the rocks from my side of the field, but I felt like I was really gonna need it, honestly. And Clefable is weakened right now, so I figured that if I try sending that in, it'll probably just give Jirachi like leeway to come in basically, and then just repeat the process of getting the rocks back up. So it's just like, I felt like it was gonna lead to the same situation happening again. And again, Chris's team here is actually really intimidating, with the fact that it's a rain team, obviously. So if I'm forced to switch around multiple times, I'm basically going to be taking a lot of hits and not very well. So yeah, it was a massive conundrum, but I decided not to actually go for the Defog here. Instead, I just went for Whirlwind just to see if I can like phase him into other monsters to take rocks in the process. Also, in case he wants to keep bringing back that Jirachi, because Jirachi is actually it's somewhat of an inconvenience for me right now, especially because it's kind of healthy. I don't want to send in Sharpedo against it and risk the possible chance that it survives a crunch and then hits me with, like, I don't know, a Thunderbolt or a Drain Punch depending on its set. Or a U-turn. U-turn hurts Sharpedo, especially since it's not a Mega. It's, like, very, very frail and whatnot. This is a leftover Jirachi, but that doesn't mean it can't hit Sharpedo very, very hard, if not one-shot it. So, yeah. Here, yeah, I just phased it into Jirachi again, which I guess is good because this gives me the chance to go for Roost to keep my Skarmory healthy. Because seeing the leftover, seeing the rocks, and seeing the Iron Head and then the U-turn tells me that this Jirachi doesn't have anything for Skarmory. It doesn't have Thunder Punch, doesn't have Thunderbolt, which I think is a lot more dangerous than Thunder Punch, because Thunder Punch at least Skarmory can take due to its good physical defense, but Thunderbolt it cannot. So here I'm just gonna go for another Roost, I believe, just to keep this Skarmory as healthy as possible. This is kind of risky though, because he could actually just switch into anything right now, given that the rain is up, particularly the Kingdra or the, I guess the Blastoise as well, and go for the G-Max, because this is his G-Max if you didn't see the draft earlier. But yeah, however, he does just get his rocks up, honestly, so that's actually really, really bad for me. I'm just gonna keep going for Roost though. I don't know why. I guess because I wanted to see if he had that coverage move or something. I think I was playing a bit too safe here, actually, because, I don't know, like, there was just a lot going on, I guess. But, yeah, here he's gonna send in the Weezing again, and I'm gonna actually go for, I believe, the Roost again. Yeah, I just go for the Roost. It's because I don't know why I keep going for Roost, honestly. I feel like I should be going for attacks at the very least, but it's because I don't expect the Jirachi to switch out for some reason. I don't know why, though, because he honestly can't really do anything to Skarmory. So it's only logical he'd switch out into something that can. I don't know. Like I said before, I wasn't really putting much thought into some of these matches, if not all of them, just because, you know, lazy and whatnot. But, yeah. Here, I'm just going to switch out Skarmory because I can't do anything with the Skarmory on the Weezing. Actually, I think I can, but not much, because I think its physical defense is still pretty good. And I just wanted to send in Gardevoir on the off chance he goes for Flamethrower, which he does. Which wouldn't do too much anyways, because, you know, the rain is up. And I actually just wanted to go for a Psychic here. I wanted to try to go for Psychic just to see if he stays in now. I don't know why on earth I'm expecting him to stay in with Weezing, honestly. Because he would not want to leave that in, obviously. I should have probably tried to predict them and go for Shadow Ball, because I think I had that. If not, then obviously maybe that's why I didn't go for it. Because, yeah. But I think I should have had Shadow Ball specifically for Jirachi. Because Jirachi is, you know, a Steel type. And this is the one thing that answers Gardevoir very, very easily. Comes in on it every time. I think I did have Shadow Ball on this, honestly, because if I don't have Shadow Ball on this, I'd be crazy, obviously. But yeah, I went for the Psychic either way, and this Jirachi is not taking any damage. Although I think from where it's at right now, even after another round of leftovers, I think I should be able to KO it with Sharpedo. But the problem is, can I actually get a +1 speed? Not to mention, if I go for Protect, he's just gonna get more leftovers, and then from there, I don't know, honestly, since I didn't actually do the calcs on whether or not I can actually take a Jirachi out with Sharpedo. But either way, I just ended up switching into Skarmory again because I didn't want to take an Iron Head. And he does predict me to switch out, I guess. And he goes for the U-turn. And as a result, he's just going to go into something else, basically. I don't remember what he goes into. But he goes into something threatening. I think it was the Kingdra. It was either the Kingdra or the Blastoise I think he went into. Because the rain is still up. He doesn't need to send in Politoed yet. He's not going to send in Tangrowth, because Tangrowth will obviously not appreciate the Brave Birds. So he's definitely going to go into the Kingdra. Or not the Kingdra, the Politoed. Okay, so he does go into Politoed. Why though? Not sure. Because maybe he... Oh, it's because it stopped. Well, actually, no, wait. It stopped. So why would he send it in now? I don't know. I'm not actually sure. But I'm going to send in Lantern now. Now, the reason why I send in Lantern is because I don't want to risk this thing having, like, Perish Song and then I can't switch out, obviously. Although I could phase it out, no? I don't know. That, and also I just didn't want to take any, like, water moves from this thing. Like, I didn't want to take a Scald and then get burned on the Skarmory and then have my chances of survival basically being reduced due to the burn. But he does go for the Perish Song, which was one of the things I was afraid of. And here I'm just going to actually... I think I try to go for Volt Switch right away so that I don't have to deal with this. But he's actually going to go straight for the Protect right afterwards, because that's what Politoads do when they have Perish Song. They try to stall out as much as possible, so that way I can just fall victim to the Perish Song without being able to do anything to it. And he, on the other hand, being able to switch out, which is not what I want, obviously. And I can go for Volt Switch because he doesn't even have immunities on his team. Like literally anything I can just volt switch into. Because if he had a ground type or something like that, then yeah, me volt switching could have still been risky. It would have been very, very predictable in order to save my lantern. But since he doesn't have any immunities, he basically has no choice but to just switch out into literally anything, including this, which is his only resistance to this thing. But again, it's volt switch, so I get the switch advantage every time I do this move. So this was a good moment for me right here. Now here, I think I try to go into, I believe I think it has to be the Gardevoir, yeah. And the reason for this was because I actually have that fire move, the mystical fire on this Gardevoir, and I wanted to see how much damage I could do. And not to mention, I can also get the regenerator as well. So if I'm forced to switch out and get some recovery from that, while also potentially taking out this Tangrowth if I can, now that the Sylveons is gone. Although this Gardevoir is not like Life Orb or anything, so it may not be able to take it out. And as you can see right here, it doesn't. It's a 2-hit KO, which is fair enough, but it's still basically gonna survive. It does go for a Sludge Bomb, but I think I got the special attack drop right there. I could be wrong, which allows me to take this very, very well. I think I don't go for, or actually I think I do try to go for a Mystical Fire again. Because if he brings back the Jirachi, that would just be bad. It's either that or I try to predict him and just go for Psychic or Moonblast or something. Because it is scary to imagine that Jirachi could come back, honestly. It's either that or I just switch out. Well, I switched out anyways. I don't know why though. Not exactly sure why. I do switch out though. I go into this Lantern, yeah. And he's gonna switch out, yeah. Maybe I was predicting him to switch out, honestly. He goes into the Kingdra, okay. Again, I don't know why I switched out Gardevoir there. I think that was a good chance for me to go for the Moonblast or even the Psychic. Yeah, Moonblast wouldn't have been bad, because if he brought Jirachi, I could have just brought in Skarmory right there. But I didn't. I ended up bringing this, and this didn't end up doing me any favors. Either way, I'm gonna go for the Toxic here, because if this thing tries to set up even once, I'm basically gonna get screwed over. He is going to go for the Draco Meteor, which I wanted to believe I was actually able to take, but I did take some prior damage due to the rocks, and he did crit me with this Draco Meteor, which I'm not sure mattered. It might have, actually. I think it might have mattered, honestly. I would have been very, very low in HP, but I think I could have survived it and at least get a Toxic off. But because he crit me, unfortunately, he basically gets away with taking out my Lantern, and I'm not able to do anything to it, which sucks. And this is where the situation gets kind of like dire, because I don't know what this Kingdra can do. I don't know if it's a physical attacker or it's a special attacker. And I don't know how fast it is, so I don't even know if my Gardevoir can outspeed it. Or even if my Sharpedo can outspeed it, honestly, because it's too, you know... Well, Kingdra's not fast, but it can be. Like, the thing with Sharpedo is that if I send it in, I'd have to go for Protect to guarantee myself the possibility of outspeeding it, but if this thing has Dragon Dance, it might be able to outspeed me regardless. I don't know. Either way, I go into Gardevoir, because I think this Gardevoir was Choice Scarf though. I also traced the Swift Swim, so, but that doesn't really matter, honestly. Yeah, because this Gardevoir, yeah, I just remember it was choiced. I didn't have to worry about the speeding, actually, because the speed wise, this Gardevoir is actually faster than just about everything. I think that was the problem when I was going for moves against Jirachi. It's just that if I go for Psychic, he brings in Jirachi, and then I'm just forced to switch out because I can't switch it up to Mystical Fire. But even then, if I could do that, obviously he'd go for Iron Head. So it was a very, very like difficult situation for me here. I go for the Moonblast right here nonetheless on whatever he switches in. He goes into the Politoed, interestingly enough. I thought he would go back straight into the Jirachi. I go for another Moonblast here, I guess because I just didn't want to like mess around with him, possibly, you know, him staying in and me over predicting, but he actually does go back into Jirachi, which even if I predicted him and went for Mystical Fire, it wasn't going to do anything to it, obviously, because the rain is up again. The special attack drop here doesn't matter either, because most of what he's shown has been physical anyway, so this was more or less a pointless moment in this match. But I didn't want to be switching around either, honestly, because as you can see, my team is starting to get kind of crippled and there's like very little room for switching around. Although I could send in the Skarmory against this Jirachi, because again, this Jirachi can't do anything to Skarmory, and I can still phase all of his mons so that I can actually, you know, get something that's, you know, crippled in with the rocks and whatnot. But yeah, so here we go. He's gonna go for the U-turn again, and he's gonna switch out again. And I think here he's actually gonna go into the Blastoise, I think. Yeah, he's gonna go into the Blastoise, and he's actually gonna... I believe here's where he's actually gonna do the G-Max move. Like, he's gonna actually G-Max here. And I just think about what I want to switch in. I think I switch in Goodra predicting the water move attempt. Because there's no reason to go for the ice move, honestly. But this was a tough situation because I didn't even want to sack Goodra in the first place. I actually wanted to see if I can use that to maybe take out the Jirachi with Surf, because Surf boosted in the rain can be really good. But at the same time, I could get outsped and just get Iron Head spam to this either, so I just decided to send it in here. This was basically the moment I needed to basically start sacking stuff, because honestly, the G-Max was inevitable basically. And here it is. So this is G-Max Blastoise, and I think he's gonna go for the water type G-Max move, yeah. I forgot what the move was called again, so we're gonna see right now what it was called. The G-Max Cannonade. Cannonade? That's weird. But yeah, this does nothing to Goodra. But I was anticipating an ice move to follow right afterwards, so I was just like basically bracing myself to lose Goodra here. He gets me in a whirlpool of sorts because that's what Cannonade does apparently, but that doesn't even matter. Like I'm getting crippled a lot though, like by burn and by the freaking whirlpool thingy. So even if this was resisted, it did a lot of damage because of that, which is kind of crazy. Goes to show you how busted G-Max moves can be. But yeah, here I think I was like just looking at my team over here just to see like what can I do after I lose this Goodra, because losing this Goodra is pretty much inevitable now. As you can see, he goes for Max Hailstorm, and I don't have my own G-Max Mon in this match because obviously it wouldn't do well in this matchup. But it would have been good to have it to at least, like, you know, go for the Max Guard to protect, stall the G-Max turns, because this G-Max is what's actually kind of doing me in just a bit right now. It took out my Goodra, and he still has one turn of G-Max left, and which means I have to sack something else here, whether it be Clefable, Gardevoir, or even Skarmory itself. But I didn't want to sack Skarmory because Skarmory can still do well against the Tangrowth, whereas Gardevoir may struggle, because I can go for an attack once and then he'll switch out to literally anything, because by the way, he actually still has all 6 of his mons, and I actually don't have much. Albeit all his mons are actually kind of weakened right now. I think the only one that's kind of still healthy is probably the Tangrowth because of the dang regenerator. But I don't know. Either way, here I just go for the Moonblast, and I actually outsped this Blastoise surprisingly. Oh no, wait, right, I'm Scarf, stupid. I'm an idiot. I outsped it because I was Scarfed, and I just went for Moonblast to get as much damage as possible. Hope for maybe a special attack drop, but I think even if I got that, it wasn't going to be enough to take out this thing. And plus I got crit, so it's just like, luck is not necessarily on my side here. Like, it was for a bit, but not entirely. It's mostly on this guy's favor, but he was still like in a good position regardless, honestly, because, you know, I was like just not doing a lot of things right here. But here, I think his G-Max finally goes down, and we're down to the last 30 seconds. And obviously, because he still has all his mons and I still only have like 3 mons left, it's clear that I lose here. But I was just gonna go for the crunch here just to see if I can at least take out this Blastoise. But this man, being a jerk and whatnot, decides to not do that and just switch out and just go into freaking this thing, the freaking wheezing thingy-bobber, which I can't do anything to, unfortunately. I think if I had Psychic Fangs on this thing, I would have probably been able to at least take this. I would have given it damage, but I would not have been able to take it out, I think, because the defense is pretty good. But yeah, so that's going to be basically the match. I'm basically going to lose again. I guess technically, well, it's because that's the thing. Sharpedo probably could have done a lot of damage, because remember that his team was mostly weakened. Yeah, he still had the Tangrowth, but I mean, I could still send in a Skarmory just to force it out. And Jirachi was, you know, not like a Scarf set or anything like that, so I didn't have to worry about that. So like in this match, Sharpedo actually had potential to sweep, honestly, if anything. It probably could have happened if I actually took out the Tangrowth right away. But unfortunately I was not able to, so yeah, that sucks. We ended up losing this match too, so effectively what happened with this league was that I started off pretty well. I went from going all the way up to 3-0, and then from there I just basically got the triangular effect and just started going completely downwards afterwards as the season went on, all the way to the end. And man, it's very disappointing because this match was just kind of lame, because obviously the match went to time again, and on top of that, I couldn't get a damn KO on this team. I guess it's good that I didn't lose all my Pokemon, which was what I was doing in week 5, where I actually just knew I lost but just didn't want to lose my Mons. I basically got that here, but unfortunately I couldn't take out even one Mon, man. It's crazy. But yeah, so anyways, that's gonna be finally the end of this season with the CBDL. Like, I'm glad I got to do it, at least just because obviously I just wanted to get a league done in Generation 8, obviously. But honestly, this league was like you know, the format is not it, honestly, given that it's a 20-minute timer and whatnot. But that's all we have basically. So unless I want to do land mode, which again is just too complicated and whatnot. But yeah, so that's gonna be the whole match. Obviously, Scoots 85 wins, and I think obviously that's gonna be our final match because the season's over. At least for me, because I don't make playoffs whatsoever in this league, just because, you know, I took too many losses, and because of the small season, the amount of wins that I had to have was really demanding if I wanted to make playoffs. So yeah, but so even though the season is actually finished right now, there is actually another set of matches that I'm actually gonna show from another draft league that I did, and they're gonna be roughly like the same amount of matches that I had here for the CBDL. So I'm just gonna show them just because it's fun, and actually it's gonna be in Gen 7 again, because after doing this league, I actually just kind of wanted to go back to Gen 7, and there was somebody actually doing a Gen 7 league, and I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I think I was actually invited to do that league, so yeah. So basically, after this, I'm gonna actually basically start showing those matches as well, for whatever it's worth. I'm just showcasing them because I think it's fun, honestly. Like, I actually had fun doing those matches in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but the ones in Sword and Shield were alright, but it's just like, again, the 20-minute timer just doesn't let anything, you know, fulfill itself, you know? And that's what makes this generation kind of lame, which is unfortunate. Because I mentioned in the previous video that I actually do like the matches. Like, I do like the battles in Sword and Shield. I just don't like how much time it takes, basically. I don't like the format, basically. I don't like how it only takes 20 minutes to get a single match done. Like, I really wish the timer was actually better than this, honestly, because I feel like it would have been a much better experience, honestly. That's probably why the draft league community right now is like in shambles right now, is because it kind of just doesn't work, honestly. But it is what it is. We can only hope that in the Diamond and Pro remix they actually showcase like a change with the timer, and it's not 20 minutes. If they have at least a 40-minute timer, that'd be fine, honestly, but not 20 minutes, for crying out loud. That's just ridiculous. Whatever, I've complained enough. If you actually watched all these matches for the CBDL, I thank you for that, because these were actually matches that were late. They actually probably should not have been showcased in the first place, but I just wanted to showcase them anyways, because it would have been kind of a waste if I didn't, honestly. But now that you've seen them, thank you all for watching if you did, and hope to catch you guys for the next matches. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a damn good one.